Hey everybody, just got done a water change here on my gourami tank. What I mainly did was sucked a lot of the filth and biofilm and growth and stuff out of the tank, and since I've done that, everybody is up and about, and one of the fish that's up and about is my Striped Raphael, and we hardly ever get to see him out and about, so I definitely want to get some video of him while he is. I actually came in to get the lights turned off, and since he's out, I think everybody's going to get to stay up for a few more minutes while we get a little bit of video here. Fortunately, I was able to get all the other lights turned off, or at least most of the other lights turned off in the room, so we have a relatively glare-free video for once. That view right there gives you a good look at all those little jagged spikes along its side. It's not too often you see him upside down, but he does it occasionally. He's getting pretty big for the caves that are in here. It's not that he's outgrowing the tank necessarily, although that's probably not too far down the road. This is a 55-gallon tank, but he's getting to be pretty hefty in there, and it's a lot of bioload, even if it's not a lot of space. Now, he's not a really active fish. He spends most of his time just kind of laying about and hiding during the day, and the only reason he's so active right now is because I've disturbed the tank. The cave he normally stays in has kind of gotten squashed a little bit flat, and I think it's just too low for him to get into. And so he's looking for a new house, but he's looking for one that's dark and cozy. And he used to stay in this cave down here as his sort of, I will call it his summer residence, when I'd got the tank all nice and trimmed and it was bright light and, you know, all the plants were cut back and everything and the tank was all brightly lit. He would always come down to this end and hide in this cave. But today I actually moved some of the Java Fern. This big clump you can see here off to the right was tucked in between all these rocks right here and grew over top of this cave from the left to the right. And I actually pulled that whole chunk of Java up and I opened up that cave. I made this whole space, and you can see it's barely even, you can hardly even call it a cave anymore. You can barely even call it a tunnel. It's just sort of like a flying bridge over this two sections of rock, and I don't think he's too happy with it being so wide open. I think he likes a little more secure housing. So he was down in this cave right there for a while, and that little thin one there is way too small for him to get into. So I guess tomorrow I'll probably come back. Maybe I'll put some smaller rocks around the back of this cave. Maybe I'll try to tuck a little more Java Fern into those rocks where that whiptail catfish now is, just to create a little more sense of security. It's the brightness that he doesn't like. The other thing I did to this tank was I removed all of the Java Fern that I used, the water sprite that I had floating in here. If you remember, this tank had a lot of water sprite floating up here. Now you see that one little piece back there. It won't take long before that's a great big thing of water sprite again. But in the meantime, all of that nice shady darkness that was down here is gone. And I don't think my Striped Raphael in there is too happy about it. That's why we're seeing so much, rustling around and adjustment. He's just looking for a place to go. So I'm going to go ahead and get the lights turned out so he'll settle down and get a decent night's sleep. Again, I did just feed the tank, and there's some broken up algae wafers in there, so maybe once the light goes out, he'll come out and do his normal cruising around the tank at night and feeding. They are fairly nocturnal. I seldom see him out during the day, and when I do, it's usually because of something like this. It's always him, trying to find a new place, or it's right after I've done a water change. Occasionally he'll come out when I put food in the tank, but usually he doesn't even do that, and you can see he's not underfed at all. So there you go, everybody. That was just a quick look at my Striped Raphael while he was out and about. So make sure you subscribe, that way you won't miss anything. I always try to get anything interesting like this when I see it. So don't forget, of course, this one is my 55-gallon gourami tank. Thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you real soon in the next one.